let's look at how we write an equation of an ellipse when it's not centered at the origin. So let's recall the steps. This one had more steps just because we need to identify an H and a K. So we're going to go ahead and put our steps here, and we're going to follow these in order. So number one, we need to determine if the major axis lies on the X or Y axis. So deciding if it's horizontal or vertical. If the Y coordinates are the same, then the major axis is horizontal. So let's look at our vertices. The Y is the same, X is different. So if the Y of the vertices and foci are the same, then the major axis is horizontal. So since this remains unchanged, this is a horizontal. So what we're going to do is we're going to write the form for a horizontal, which is x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. Now that I know which form equation I'm going to use, I need to find out what is the center of this ellipse. So let's look. I already know that since this is remaining unchanged, my k value is going to be 3. So I know that the center of this ellipse has a k value of 3. We just need to figure out what h is. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to take this negative 3, and that equals to h minus a. And then over here we have this guy, which is 1 minus 2 square root 3, and that equals h minus c. It's pretty obvious what c is here. 2 square root 3, which means that my h value must be 1. So I'm going to write that as my h value is 1. Next, we're going to, let's see, find a squared by solving for the length of the major axis 2a. So, which is the distance between the given vertices. So what we're going to do is the distance between these two vertices. We're going to use the distance formula. Distance equals the square root x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And we end up with 8 squared, which gives us a distance of 8. Now this tells us that's 2a. So a is the number 4. We know what c is from our foci. All we have to do now is find b. So I know, let's use a different color. Let's use pink. We know h, we know k, and we know a. All we have left to find is b. So to find b, we're going to use the formula. C squared equals a squared minus b squared. 2 square root 3 squared equals 4 squared minus b squared. Now, 2 square root 3 squared, that's 2 squared is 4, square root of 3 squared is 3. 4 squared is 16. 4 times 3 is 12. subtract, and we get 4 equals b squared. Sorry, negative 4 equals negative b squared, and if we divide by negative 1, we end up with 4 equals b squared. So finally, I can write the final answer for the equation of this ellipse. The equation of this ellipse is going to be x minus h, which we found is 1, squared, over a squared, so a is 16, or sorry, a is 4, so a squared is 16, plus, and then y minus our k value, which is 3, squared, over, and then we found b squared is 4 equals 1. So there's the equation of the ellipse centered at HK with the given foci and vertices.